The first residents moved onto what we now call Roosevelt Island in 1975, but the island has a long and interesting history going back centuries. Here to tell us all about it is Judith Bertie, president of the Roosevelt Island Historical Society, and the woman who literally wrote the book. Judy, tell us about the different names that this place has had, from Minnehaha to Roosevelt Island.
Well, the first known name is Minnehaha, which was probably from the Lenape Indians who lived on the island. And after the Dutch came to the island, and when they acquired the city of New York, it became Varkens Island, better known as Hog Island in English. And the Dutch kept that name until the British took over the island. And then in the American Revolution, it became Perkins Island for a few years, and then it became Blackwell's Island. The Blackwell's family lived in Queens, and they used this island as their summer home. And they quarried and farmed the island. And they owned the island from the late 1600s until 1826, when they sold the island to the city of New York. The city of New York put institutions on the island, and they called the island Blackwell's Island until 1921. In 1921, the city of New York decided that Blackwell's Island had a bad connotation due to the penal institutions that had been on the island, and some of them were still here. So the city of New York changed the name to Welfare Island. And the island stayed Welfare Island until 1973, when the state of New York was redeveloping the island, and they did not think that Welfare Island was an appropriate name in this day and age, so they changed the name to Franklin D. Roosevelt Island.
How did people get on the island before the Welfare Island Bridge and the tram?
Well, the first people who we have images of were prisoners rowing visitors to the penitentiary and other institutions. So the prisoners would row the visitors, and they came that way. When the city opened institutions, they ran steamer boats, mostly from Bellevue Hospital, 26th Street. And the steamers would come up to the island and drop different visitors and prisoners, hospital patients, and staff off at different piers along the East River. The Queensboro Bridge opened in 1909, and on the Queensboro Bridge there was an outer roadway lane which was then connected to a elevator storehouse building on Welfare Island, or Blackwell's Island, and it was connected, and people could take a trolley halfway over the Queensboro Bridge, come onto the roof of this elevator storehouse building, and come down onto the island. That was from 1916 until 1970. In 1957, the Welfare Island Bridge opened, which connected the island from 36th Avenue in Astoria to the island. And after that opened, the trolley car system was closed. It was not needed. And the first mass transit was the Roosevelt Island tram, which opened in 1976. And our subway was many, many times delayed. It was supposed to open at the same time the community was developed here, but did not open until October 1989. We also have bus service from Astoria, which we've had ever since the bridge opened to Queens, and we have New York City Ferry, and the aerial tramway, which is the most popular means of transportation, has been in full operation since 1976.
Tell us about some of the pieces of history you've snagged, like the visitor's kiosk and the lamp base.
I do have a habit of acquiring things. The Historical Society learned about this trolley kiosk, which is now our visitor center, and it was located, it was one of 5 trolley kiosks at the foot of the Queensboro Bridge. And you would go into this kiosk, go down the stairs, and go on to the tracks of the trolley system that went over the Queensboro Bridge. There were originally 5 trolley kiosks, and going to different areas of Queens, going to Jamaica, going to Elmhurst, going to Astoria, and other areas. So people would take the trolley, go over the bridge. When the trolley system closed in 1957, one of the kiosks was moved to the Brooklyn Children's Museum. They were renovating their facilities in Brooklyn, and in the year 2003 we learned that it was not going to be used anymore, and we New York City and the museum to send it to Roosevelt Island. It took 4 years and a lot of paperwork, but the trolley kiosk, which is now a visitor center, was moved in 2006 to Roosevelt Island, and it's been our visitor center ever since. There was also a lamppost, which was on a plinth on 59th Street and 2nd Avenue, one of two plinths with beautiful torchère lampposts that were there since the Queensboro Bridge opened in 1909. Unfortunately, when the tram was being built, the plinth with the lamppost the lamppost had to be removed from the plinth because the cable car would have hit it. So that lamppost base was sitting in a storage yard in Queens for many, many years, and it was discovered about 15 years ago by an urban explorer, and it took us only 2 or 3 years to get that, and that beautiful lamppost base is now on display next to the visitor center kiosk.
If you ask your average New Yorker about Roosevelt Island, chances are the only thing they know is the tram. What do you think they should know about on this island?
Well, the island has a long history. We are 2 miles long, 800 feet wide. We have 6 landmark buildings. We have beautiful parks at the north end of the island. There's Lighthouse Park with a series of sculptures called the Girl Puzzle. And at the south end, we have the Franklin D. Roosevelt's Four Freedoms Park. And we also have many, many parklands in between. Our promenade consists of dozens and dozens of blooming cherry trees. And we have, now we have the campus of Cornell Tech, which is Cornell's graduate engineering school. And we also have a community of about 14,000 people who live in the apartments here. And the apartments opened in 1975, and the latest building is opening in 2025. So it's a community of many people, many diversities. And we have some shopping, we have some restaurants, and it's just a wonderful place to come and explore.
Our thanks to Roosevelt Island Historical Society President Judith Birdie for a look at the rich history of Roosevelt Island. I am Anita Bonita for Channel NYC.